Okay, so Kwesi, I'm sure you've been monitoring American elections.
Sure.
Yes, it's gone for Trump. They've started qualifying. It's gone for him, and it looks like it's a rout. Nothing like a close to call election, nothing like a tight race. It's a rout. He's won the Senate. He's on course to win the House. The White House has gone to Trump. Is the economy stupid?
It looks like, I mean, there's so many interesting things about this election. First of all, this is the first time in U.S. history that a convicted person will become president of the United States of America. It's never happened before. It is also interesting that during Trump's presidency, he was actually, impeached twice. And in spite of his being impeached twice, he's coming back as president of the United States of America. There are some very interesting points of note. I mean, all the polls have suggested that this was going to be a very, very close race. In fact, some polls gave it 50-50, 50% to Kamala Harris and 50% to Trump. What is happening suggests that it isn't that close, you understand? Now, what's also interesting is that in America, you can actually win the elections without winning the popular vote. It does appear that Trump is winning the popular vote and is also winning, the electoral votes and so on. So clearly, what is happening is it's clearly unprecedented in American history. And the question has been asked, how come that Trump is doing so very well? There are a number of reasons, okay? And in looking at those reasons, you need to see how the campaign was structured. I mean, over the last couple of days, all the celebrities, most of them, the big musicians and so on, were all put on the road, You have talk show hosts like Oprah Winfrey and so on. All of them were on the road campaigning for Kamala Harris. All the former presidents, and most of the former presidents, Democratic presidents and their wives were on the road. I mean, last Sunday I listened to a speech by Barack Obama in which he ran down Donald Trump completely. Michelle Obama was on the race. Some Republican senators, who had fallen out with Donald Trump were also put on platforms, to run him down and so on. It didn't work. None of it worked. It is important when you listen to U.S. analysts and so on that the economy was a key factor, the economy. And many Americans make the point that the rate of inflation was a very key factor in their decision, to vote Donald Trump. The increasing prices of goods and services is largely responsible for this victory. Now, when I look at the U.S. election, I really look at it from the point of view of what happens to the world, what are its consequences for the world, and its consequences for people like us in Ghana. This morning I listened to some of the clips that we played, and our public officials, government officials, are quick to blame COVID-19 for all the problems that we are getting, including the increase in petroleum prices and so on. Now, when I listened to Barack Obama, he made the point that COVID actually was a savior for the U.S. economy. He makes the point that petroleum prices had to fall because people were not moving and therefore people were not buying petroleum products and so on, that compelled prices to fall. Well, the opposite is what our leaders tell us in Ghana. I mean, they blame COVID-19 and Ukraine war for everything. The U.S. doesn't, okay? So the economy was a key factor. There were other things which were important. Immigration was a key factor in this election, to the extent that a lot of Americans, especially African Americans, thought that too much money was being spent on the Ukrainian war and also that the conditions of Ukrainian refugees were much better than their own conditions. Their tax money was being spent on giving a lot of comfort to Ukrainian refugees when they were getting nothing. Now, it's important also to recognize that for the first time, Palestine became an issue in this election. And many Americans started actually calling Joe Biden Genocide Joe, because of their disapproval of U.S. policy in the Middle East and so on. Now, Kamala Harris did not distance herself from Joe Biden's policies in the Middle East, and that cost her, especially in the so-called swing states, that really cost her significantly. So foreign policy was one of the things, that cost them. Now, it's important also that Americans are getting very, very wary of these endless wars around the world, especially in Ukraine and in the Middle East. And they were looking for a president who would pull them out of this mess. Of course, Trump did not offer any concrete measures to end the war. But he made the point that if he assumed office, he would end the war in Ukraine within a day. How he's going to do that, we don't know. But that was the position that he took. He also strangely appeared to be getting a lot of votes, from Palestinians, from Arabs, and so on. And that's quite strange, given what he did when he was president. He even recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel and so on, and came up with what he called the Abrahamic Accord, and so on. But in this election, he also promised to end the war in Gaza. He didn't tell us how he was going to do it, but he simply said that he was going to end the war in Gaza, and managed to get some significant Muslim votes, managed to get some significant Palestinian votes and Arab votes. So if you put all of these things together, hey, Trump is back in the White House. He's certainly going back to the White House. As to how that would affect the American people, how that would affect, the world in general, how that would affect climate change, which he has described as a scam and so on, nobody knows. But he's certainly going to the White House and also sending out a very strong indication that the combined voices of Bill Clinton, of Barack Obama, of Michelle Obama, of all kinds of people really, doesn't make any impact when it comes to U.S. elections, at least for now. So that's what is happening. I have no doubt at all that Trump will become the next president of the U.S. It's very clear. He's winning the popular vote, and he's winning, So you have Trump again. Right. I listened to his speech this morning, and I'm sitting back and wondering, what is he saying? He didn't say anything substantial, but he has won. So that's it.
What up, my people? I go by the name T-Rhyme, aka the stylish rapper, aka Conshon, aka Fire, aka what I say, BBB. You watching Davcadotv. Keep it locked. Don't go nowhere. Alright.